Okay, so we have this backseat multifunction control system by Tlyard here, and it's actually made for the Model 3 and the Model Y. So basically what it does is just replaces the, at the center console area right by the armrest, there's those two diffusers, air diffusers that sit basically right here to feed the back seats. So this basically just replaces that panel with this, and it has this little screen here. Again, it's a multifunction display unit for you to control your air to the back seat, and it actually also controls the passenger front seat. So it's just a direct replacement. We're going to utilize some parts of the existing section of the center console, and then of course our USB-C ports will also be used in this as well. So this kit from Tlyard does come with, again, this section here. It also comes with the wiring harness and basically an OBD2 jumper cable for that. That's all connected right there at the center console right by the armrest. And then this long cable here basically is a cable that connects to the right side of the passenger seat control to be able to, again, has a function to adjust the passenger seat, whether you want to move it up, down, or even control forward and backwards for that passenger seat as well. So again, want to thank Tlyard for sending this out, and we're going to get this installed. All right, so first off, we're going to shut down the vehicle here, and we're going to do that by going into your main control panel, hitting the little car button, going into safety, and then pressing power off, and then hitting power off. And that's it. Next step is make sure you don't sit in the driver's seat or close one of the doors. We need to make some room behind the armrest. So let's go ahead and move the seats up. We need to remove this panel here, and you simply just stick your hands right here, put your fingers right back here, and just simply pull. And it just pops right out. Just like that. Again, with the power off on the vehicle, we can go ahead and disconnect the little plug back here. And that's it. Here we have the existing section here that we just removed from the vehicle. And then here's the new one with the new screen on there. So we're going to have to remove some parts from the existing. We're going to have to take this section here where the AC goes through and diffuses air, and then we're also going to have to remove the USB-C port here. So it's pretty easy. All we're going to do is remove the two screws right here with a T20, pop this off, and then we have another set of screws here holding the USB-C port. We're also going to reutilize these two clips here, so we're going to remove those, and then we're going to have to make a little small modification to the air diffuser here, but we'll get to it once we get there. Let's go ahead and remove these T20 screws. To be able to remove this section here, there's these two tabs here on these side and on this side here that you need to push back. There's the same two tabs here that you need to also push back, and then all the way back here are another set of clips. There's like, I believe, 3 or 4 of them. You can't really reach them, so at this point, as long as you have these two clips back and these two clips back, then you should just be able to pull this part separating the vents to this panel here. You have to use a little bit of force to disengage the clips that are along this side over here. And there you have it. Now you have this section out. And again, we're going to reuse this. So now we're going to remove the Usbc module, but in order to do that, we got to remove these two sets right here of T10 screws. And then the Usbc module should just slide out. And then we'll set this side because we're going to reuse that as well. All right, now we're going to remove these two clips right here because we're going to reuse these two clips. But you'll need just a flathead screwdriver here just to be able to pop these off. All right, so now that we have all of our parts that we removed that we're going to reutilize, we're going to start off by reinstalling the Usbc module, followed by the air diffuser, which again, there's going to be a slight modification we're going to make to it, and we'll show you that when we get to it. And then the two little clips that I kind of struggled with actually. So but let's go ahead and get all these parts put on our new panel here. All right, so our Usbc module simply just slides it into this section here, similarly to how we took it off the original panel. Just like that. And then we're going to reattach the T10 screws that we removed earlier. You make sure you don't over tighten this because you don't want to mess up the control board for that Usbc. Okay, we have the Usbc module reinstalled to the new panel. See the two little ports there. Now we're going to go install this diffuser here. But again, there's going to be a slight modification. What we're going to have to do is actually cut this little tab here. And it's simply because on the existing panel, there's a tab right here that this thing fits into. As you can see, there's that tab that it slides into back there, right in here. But it really doesn't clip into it because, I don't know, it's just there as a guide. Now, if you try to connect it to the new panel, the screen module is in the way. There isn't a tab there. So, and if you try to slide this in, it won't fit. So that's the reason why we have to make this modification. It doesn't mess up the equipment whatsoever. It's just, quite frankly, simply in the way. So we just need to cut this off and go from there. So I just had a set of pliers here that I'm just going to snip this off with. Got it as flush as possible, but you basically just need to make enough room for it to slide onto the new piece. But it's enough. We've taken enough off. So now we're all going to do is connect it to the new panel here, and we'll reutilize those T20 screws. There we go. It just snaps into place. Check to make sure you don't have any gaps around the opening here. And now we're going to reattach the T20 screws. Again, you don't want to over tighten this stuff because you don't want to break any of the plastic or strip any of it either. So just get it snug. Should be it there. And now we're going to attach the clips that we removed from the old panel. Just simply slide them on here. And that should be it for this part here. Reattached some of the old stuff. And now it's a part of the new panel. So let's go get it installed. All right, so we're back in the car. And first off, what we're going to do is go ahead and remove this panel down here. And we're going to simply just use this plastic pry tool. So down here is the OBD2 connection that we're going to jump. But before we disconnect this, again, want to make sure that your power is off to the car, which that was the first thing we did. But just double check to make sure that the car is powered off before you disconnect this. So we have to fish this wire, the new harness, to be able to connect our new OBD2 jumper here, but we need to make this connection up here for the new panel. But we have to fish the wire through here. Now, the easiest way to do this is to simply just remove this panel. And there's really only two T20 screws here that we need to remove, and then the panel can just pop right off. So let's go ahead and do that to make our lives a little bit easier. With that panel off, we can go ahead and make this connection here to the OBD2. And then I don't want to connect this yet because I want to be able to go ahead and run this wire up here, try to find a nice path for it to go. I think I like the routing of this cable now, but we simply just made that connection here with the new harness to the new panel, and then the connector that we removed earlier, I went ahead and reconnected that back to the Usbc module. So what I'm going to end up doing is routing this cable here, get some Tessa tape, or you could use zip tie and kind of just combine these two harnesses together so it's neatly tucked away underneath these panels here. Before reinstalling this panel here, it's actually best to put this bottom panel here right on the underside in first, because this panel here, the new one, needs this section down here to clip into. So it's best, again, to put this bottom section in back first before you reconnect this. So have that all in place. We got the wire from the new panel fed behind this panel here, and as you can see, it's dangling down here now. And all we're going to do is simply put those two screws back in. Now we're just going to simply just pop this new panel in place, just like that. To be able to fish this wire underneath the seat rail here and in between the carpet, as you can see way down in here, what I ended up doing is using this fish tape here, connected it to the other end of the wire that's going to connect back to the panel here, and just ran that fish tape underneath this rail, which I'm going to be able to tuck now underneath the carpet and on the side panel here. So, and then pop it back up here to make this little connection. So that way you don't see this wire, hanging out. It'll be tucked underneath the carpet neatly, and then we're going to run the rest of it to the other side, or the right side of the passenger seat control. Okay, we're going to go ahead and actually make this connection here because that wire is pretty much ran, and we're just going to connect it to the other side. So make this little green connection, and then we're going to go ahead and connect our final connection here to the OBD2 port. Then go ahead and put this little panel back in. So we ran that wire that needs to connect to the right side of the passenger seat behind this panel here, a little bit to around or underneath the side panel, and there's a gap or a seam in the carpet just right in there for us to go underneath this rail here. Okay, and that's where we use the fish tape. And then we tucked the wire underneath here, underneath this vent. There's a gap underneath that vent, and then there's again this seam of the carpet continues on up into here. And then we were able to pull it up and into the area underneath the seat there. Now the hard part is getting behind this area here, which is the controls for the passenger seat. And it's because you have to go underneath here, and there's a screw. I don't even know if you guys can actually see this. There's a screw like way under here somewhere that you can't even get a tool under there. So what I ended up doing is just simply pulling this panel back, okay, and that cable, which is essentially this cable here, is connected to the side of this module right here. It was connected right there. So basically I undid that. Well, first I was able to fish this wire here up through underneath, so I didn't have to completely remove this panel. So which was good because it wasn't too tough to do. And then was able to disconnect again this wire here. And now all I'm going to do now is make this final connection to this control module right here for the seat. There we go. Basically just plugged that new jumper adapter there into the module, and that's it. So all we're going to do is just pop this panel back in place just like that, and that's it. Guys, check this out. This thing is sweet, man. As soon as you turn the car on, the time comes on, or at least in my case the time came on. And look at, you can actually get a couple other features. If you just swipe to the left there, you have a little, typical looking clock. Obviously before that was a little digital clock. Then you got one with a black background, the other one with a white background, so that's pretty sweet. So I don't know, I kind of like the digital or the standard clock look of the other one with the black background. But then you can just tap on the screen and look at some of the other functions it has. You could adjust the temperature, and then if you go to the rear here, you could select the specific seat in the rear to turn on the heat, and then you just tap it again to turn off the heat on those particular seats. But check this out. If you want to mess with somebody, then you can adjust their seat. Look at that. That's pretty fun. So this is actually pretty helpful if you have nobody sitting in that front passenger seat, but someone sitting in the rear passenger seat. Then you can, create more room for yourself. You can also decline or recline the back, move it up and down. So that's pretty cool. It's actually pretty helpful if you're a share ride driver, specifically like, someone like Uber or Lyft. You can easily just move the seat if you need to, or at least the passenger can. And let's see, the other thing it does is if you want to lock the screen, just hit the lock button there. That way, if you touch the screen, nothing really happens. If you have kids back here, if you don't, or if you have someone back here that you don't want them to mess the screen up, then just hit the lock button. You can easily just power off the screen and then just tap the screen again to turn it back on. So after 30 seconds of no movement on the screen, or not messing with it, then the clock automatically comes up. So that's pretty nice. So the other thing that you can do with this little screen is adjust the volume. Now we're going to increase the volume here. See, so that's pretty cool. And then you can obviously decrease the volume. So that's actually pretty nice to be able to do that from the back. And of course, we utilize the existing air diffusers here. So these are the existing air diffusers that we, again, mounted to the new panel. And then the Usbc module ports are back here still, so which is nice. So overall, man, this is like a really nice look. It's a really clean look. Matches really well with the existing Tesla Simplicity. Oh, see, there you go. The time just turned back on. So I'm not sure if I like the digital version or the little clock there. I don't know. I'm gonna have to decide or go back and forth. But yeah, that's pretty nice. So one other thing you can do is if you hold onto the rear function here for a couple seconds, then you can get into some of the behind the scenes settings. Like you can adjust the temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius, change the language, time zone, which is my time zone here is GMT +6, and then a driver, which is going to adjust your left and right drive. And then if you click on this part of the screen, then you can actually do an update. So if you hit upgrade, there's no file attached, so you simply have to plug in, download a firmware update online and then plug it into USB-C to be able to do your upgrade here. So I don't have one, but it does have that option. So, but you simply just hit return to get you back to this menu here, and then on the top right corner, you hit the little arrow there to return back to the main screen. So overall, man, this is a really sweet product. Again, I love the look of it. It was fairly easy to install. I think the hardest part was running the wire to the right side of the passenger seat to get to the controls. Running that wire was a little difficult, but it was definitely doable after looking at it for a little while. Swapping in and out the parts from like the air diffuser and the USB-C ports from the old or the stock panel wasn't too difficult at all. Those two little pins were a little bit of a pain, but eventually got there. But overall, man, I love the design of it. Functionality is very simple, so I highly recommend something like this. Gives just a little bit more control to passengers in the rear. So again, want to thank Tlyard for sending this out to me. Extremely happy with this product. Again, looks really nice. So with that, hope you guys like the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, and of course subscribe for more, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, see ya.